Coming up on Up at Noon, critics aren't quite sold on Nintendo Switch, but hey, it's out tomorrow. Alien Covenant. At least it has an alien in it. And Wolverine, he's in 9 movies and never wears the yellow costume. All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live.
Hello and welcome to Up at Noon, a guaranteed way to kill 1 hour as you wait for Zelda. I'm Brian Altano, this is Max Scoville. Don't forget, you can watch Up at Noon on IGN.com, PS4, Xbox One, Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So hopefully you're watching it on one of those things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing this right now.
Yeah, I'm told that this week we're actually we're coming right in from a Zelda live stream, so everyone's sitting and watching that, and then we cut from Zelda, the game that everyone wants, to our dumbasses talking about action figures or whatever. So apologies for that, but if you'd like to yell at us and tell us that we're just real bad, you can use the Twitter hashtag Up at Noon.
That's right. We will be talking about Zelda today.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to everyone watching right now who just came in from Zelda. We're going to keep whatever's going over there. I don't know what they did. I wasn't actually looking at it.
We're trying not to look.
I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. It's streaming everywhere.
We both get that tomorrow. It shows up.
It's tomorrow. Like, it's ridiculous. Some of you are probably getting it at midnight tonight. If you are, let us know. Use the hashtag Up at Noon, what you're going to do to stay up, where you're going, how you're camping out. I love hearing those stories. Breath of the Wild, review embargo lifted this morning. It's a 10. It's getting dozens and dozens and dozens of perfect scores. This is great news.
Yeah.
IGN called it a masterclass in open world design and a watershed game that reinvents a 30-year-old franchise. Jose Otero actually reviewed Skyward Sword, not for IGN, but for 1UP. IGN gave Skyward Sword a 10. That was written by Rich George. Jose Otero actually gave it a B- for 1UP. They used a weird sort of school curriculum grading system there.
Well, to be fair, he used to be a school teacher, so that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I've been talking to Jose about why this game works, and I think what I really find fascinating about it is something that we're all going to look forward to here, is that we're all going to experience this game in very, very different ways. You can play things completely out of order. You can tackle scenarios differently. You can tackle sort of environmental puzzles and combat situations differently.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. I love that. I love that it's encouraging that kind of playground thought process.
Yeah.
I was seeing bits and pieces of a GDC talk that was happening from Nintendo about how they designed it, and there's just stuff that they're like, we want to really make it so the players have to figure stuff out. They showed a thing where there's apparently a large rock at one part in the game, and you can push it entirely to a boss fight and then use it to fight the boss.
You can push it to the main boss of the game.
Oh, so you can fight the main boss with a rock.
Yeah, which
so that feels like
that
feels like a throwback to like using the butterfly net in Link to the Past. Like it's just to deflect the. And it's like you don't need a master sword, just use a net. Anyway, we're not the only ones who gave it a 10 out of 10. GameSpot also gave it a 10 out of 10, saying Breath of the Wild is a defining moment for the Legend of Zelda series and the most impressive game Nintendo has ever created.
Damn.
Okay. All right.
That says a lot when one of the most impressive video game developers of all time might have just made their best game. And this is coming off the tail end of a few years of us sort of being like, what's going on with Nintendo?
Right.
Like, let's be totally honest. We're big Nintendo fans here. I grew up with The Legend of Zelda. I grew up with Nintendo consoles. I've had a weird time tracking them the last few years. Now, the Wii U had a bunch of great games. 3DS had a bunch of great games. But one of the things you could always guarantee on year after year was that Nintendo was going to be one of the highest rated software developers of the year. If you look at stuff like Metacritic. The last few years, that hasn't been entirely true. I think they've been sort of hibernating, waiting for the Switch, putting their thoughts together. We didn't get a console Zelda on the Wii U. It's the first Nintendo console that didn't have a dedicated original Zelda game on it.
Which is nuts.
We got Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
But back to Zelda. Game Informer said a profound new direction for one of gaming's best franchises and a new high point for open world interactive experiences. That's a huge thing right there. The fact that this is really, is this Nintendo's first like open world game really?
Well, the original
like
Legend of Zelda is one of their first open world games.
I mean, so they kind of invented it, but that was 30 years ago.
That's actually really good to hear, because that actually sort of silences my biggest fear I had going into Breath of the Wild was, okay, so Nintendo's going to try to make an open world game.
Right.
But we have The Witcher, we have Far Cry, we have Horizon now. I mean, there are so many games that I'm like, GTA, like how do you compete with the juggernauts of open world games? And apparently, you do it in the way Nintendo does it.
Polygon said Breath of the Wild signals that Zelda has finally evolved and moved beyond the structure it's leaned on for so long. That is so huge, because I feel like Nintendo, they're prone to doing incredibly weird, incoherent, like just where did that come from stuff? Like, I mean, like the Wii, for instance, or the DS, like the idea of like these concepts that are just so like far out there. It's like, you didn't have to go that far. You could have just done something safer.
Yeah, well, it's either that or they're completely iterative, right?
Like or like you get new Super Mario Brothers, and it's like, it's Mario, but it's newish.
How many Zelda games now have been like, okay, the boy wakes up, he's got his fairy, he collects 3 of one thing, 7 another thing, fights the main boss, and that's it.
Yeah.
The progression seems similar. Now, we've seen hints of where Breath of the Wild is going if you look at stuff like Link Between Worlds, right? Which is pretty much free form, but even that was kind of like you'd get to a temple and there'd be a sign outside that said like, hammer, you need a hammer here.
Right.
It was pretty much, no pun intended, hammering you in the head with what you needed to do. So it feels like this is so much different and so much more free form. I'm really excited about that.
Then, of course, Time Magazine, my favorite gaming publication, said that an Odyssey this beguiling and capacious happens to also be playable on planes, trains, and yes, the toilet is almost beside the point. Yeah.
I put this in here specifically because Time Magazine is a very sort of respected and heralded publication for decades and decades now. And
you can just say that it's a magazine for grown-ups.
And they got to say toilet in their review.
I think they're allowed to say toilet. It's a word.
I just like that they're being like,
that's pretty good.
It's cool and you can poop at the same time.
Yeah.
Time Magazine.
That's pretty funny.
Donald Trump, Man of the Year.
All right. As someone who loves open world games, this is one of the best out there. As someone who enjoys the Zelda series, I honestly think I can say the same thing. That's from US Gamer.
Mm-hmm. I call them us gamers sometimes.
I was just about to say the exact same
Jeremy
thing.
Parrish gets very mad at me because he's like, we're not a tabloid.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that because I think it's basically showing that people can come into this brand new. People can be lifelong Zelda fans, and you'll find something great in it. And I think that's the greatest achievement in modern gaming, and something that most franchises strive for and ultimately fail at.
Yeah. Games Radar says it has taken 18 years, but Nintendo has done it again. This is the adventure game to beat.
So that is specifically capping off 2 very important moments, watershed moments in video game history, and that is Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. And between that, we've gotten Majora's Mask, we've got Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, which is like one of the best games of all time, but they're all sort of like along the same lines. And we're always talking about getting that Mario 64 moment again, right? And I think we had it with PSVR for a little bit. VR in general is sort of like the first time we got to sort of experience something new. But it sounds like this is bringing us back to that first time in 1996 or 97 when we opened up those Ocarina of Time cartridges and started playing that game. And damn, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, it's good. And then here we have some other scores.
Yeah, so this was actually in the comments section of, I'm sorry if I don't have the person to credit for this. This was in the comments section of the IGN official review for Breath of the Wild. Just 10s everywhere.
That's awesome. That's
Perfect
so
scores,
good. Yeah.
10s everywhere. I mean, there was a couple guys here and there that were like 97, but they got their points.
Nobody here is like 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Rento buy. So anyway, I mentioned GDC is happening right now. Get that out of there, weird dude. But yeah, like GDC is the Game Developers Conference, happens every year in San Francisco, and it's cool because it's basically all the game developers get together and they're like, here's how we made this thing. I mean, here's how you can push a rock through Zelda or whatever. But they also show stuff that maybe didn't make it into the final game, things about developing games. Nintendo did one where they showed off some stuff about just how they developed Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Fascinatingly, they prototyped it in 2D. Using basically original Zelda sprites, and it looked a little bit like this. They showed this off on the Nintendo Twitter, so maybe you saw this already today. And you're like, okay, so how does that translate into the modern game? Well, they were actually using the new game's engine and guts to play with it, but just to get the kind of sense of like, I mean, I guess the basic gameplay down. Like, it's always kind of cool to see, like, when games are in development, they don't have all the art finished, the graphics aren't really super impressive. They want to get the skeleton there, so they have that. On top of that, there were a couple of very weird directions that Zelda almost went, and I'm really glad it didn't. Hyrule Wars from Legend of Zelda was almost a game. I don't know what that means exactly, but I feel like just throwing the word wars into the title of a Zelda game just kind of...
So, yeah, this is...
I just think Halo Wars.
I mean, so we've gotten Hyrule Warriors, which was sort of like...
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different.
But in terms of like the Wars subtext on a Nintendo game, Lilat Wars was what Star Fox was called originally. Advance Wars is another series they had. So I don't know if this meant like... to me, can you pull that image up again?
Yeah, I got it here. Yeah.
To me, it sort of signifies that they were going for possibly like a Monster Hunter angle.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they were going for something where Link was actually fighting giant enemies.
Or side by side with people or whatever.
Yeah.
Which again just feels like kind of a departure from what people really love about Zelda.
Well, so we got actually a quote from the lead designers of Zelda a couple years ago saying that they were experimenting with players coming together and playing games together when it comes to Zelda. So actually, I do believe that Breath of the Wild was originally a multiplayer game, and now it's not at all.
Yeah. I'm really glad it's not. I feel like so much of it is about getting lost in this strange world. But it has to be strange in the right way. Maybe a full-scale alien invasion, like pictured here, isn't the direction that Zelda should go.
Right.
You were saying there's a UFO in Majora's Mask.
There's an actual sequence where you go to Lon Lon Ranch, and based on the timing of things, a UFO lands and basically causes a destruction. It's kind of odd to be like there's aliens.
There's a lot of weird stuff buried in Zelda. What is it? Link's Awakening has there's a claw machine in there. You get like a Yoshi doll. There's always kind of strange little things that maybe don't quite fit.
Yeah, but this feels entirely Star Fox.
A ship from Independence Day, maybe not the best thing to have there.
Yeah.
And then of course there's this, which I'm really glad didn't make it past the drawing board.
Oh man.
They clearly were trying to give a hip new angle to Link.
He's also got like that. He's got like a blogger's gut. I don't like no. Yeah. I don't like the Alexia on the God mic. You just yelled no.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're not getting it. It's not happening.
Not a thing. It's
don't
okay.
worry, Alex. Yeah, I don't like this at all. So we've seen Link on a motorcycle in Mario Kart 8, and that was weird enough.
Yeah.
It works for me there because that game is just like nonsense.
This looks like something from DeviantArt that I would find by accident trying to find a photo of Link in Mario Kart.
But you know what? Like sometimes you gotta get these demons out of you before you get to the good stuff.
Yeah, get the poison out.
Get the poison out.
Yeah.
I'm glad this didn't happen. It's weird that they just sort of kept his Master Sword branding though. Like that's just still straight up the same thing.
Yeah. Can we stop looking at this?
Yeah, I don't
Is it
like-
cool
I don't
to
like
not
looking
look
at it
at that anymore?
I think the most fascinating story of all that is the 8-bit prototype stuff because to me when I look at it and I see a sort of like top-down Zelda game, first of all, everything we saw in there was an original layout that wasn't based on the original Zelda game at all. It sort of makes me go like, could we get a 2D Zelda Maker game someday? Like, is that?
I think that seems very possible, though it's considerably. I feel like it's more complex in a less fun way than Mario Maker would be.
Totally.
Like making a platformer and you screw up, you're like, oh, that's silly. But making a game where there's like complex puzzles would just be like, this sucks.
I think it's tougher to test. But that being said, Mario Maker does have all those sort of like warp pipe points that you could do with Zelda. The Switch has a touch screen, multi-touch screen, if that.
Yeah,
so yeah, I think there's a chance we can get that someday.
The thing that I saw that got me excited, I mean, we haven't gotten a Metroid game in a proper form in quite some time, but the idea of what if they took this massive, huge open world engine they've been kicking around for Zelda and made a Metroid game where, Samus, Breath of the Metroid or whatever, you crash land and got to go get armor pieces or whatever. I don't know. It could happen, or maybe not. Might just get another game where it's like Blast Ball or whatever.
Man, as a longtime hardcore Metroid fan, like I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I've been burned by that franchise so many times now.
Yeah. Go figure.
Federation Force, man, what happened?
Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, so Zelda's killing it. People love Zelda. Nintendo Switch has been getting hardware reviews, and they haven't been great.
No.
And that's kind of stupid. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so in total interest of honesty, IGN does hardware reviews, and I agree with that sentiment. I think it's something we should do. I think it's great reader service to provide people sort of a snapshot of what a console could look like on the first day of buying it. That being said, the review embargo for the hardware lifted the other day, and this is actually, I would say, Nintendo's at fault on this one for allowing reviews to go up this early, but not having all of the sort of systems in play yet. Keep in mind that Nintendo Switch is going to get a pretty significant day one patch. It's going to add stuff like the eShop. It's going to add stuff like online functionality.
It's adding stuff like memory card support, isn't it?
Apparently, yeah, memory card support.
If you want to use like an SD, XC, or the whatever format.
Apparently that glitch of the left Joy-Con fritzing out, which I experienced for the first time the other day, is being patched and being fixed.
Good. I mean,
so it seems odd to me that reviewers, including IGN, are putting numerical scores on something that is not exactly. It's a snapshot of something that I don't think consumers will actually get to see yet.
Yeah,
but I think there is some truth in all of this. This is a system that will grow over time, and it does feel sort of half-baked. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so CNET, who are known for their hardware reviews, said a solid piece of hardware that delivers an impressive gameplay experience in a small chassis, but a shallow roster of launch games beyond Zelda and a dearth of other features leaves the Switch feeling more like a blank slate of unfulfilled potential on day one.
Yeah,
it doesn't have a great launch lineup. This feels honestly kind of like a throwback to the launch of the NES, where it was kind of like being trickled out, but in the day and age of the internet, it's like, I feel like this is almost a marketing stunt by getting Switch is in the hands of hardcore fans who will probably evangelize it.
It feels like the Zelda and the Switch feel like going to a really amazing steakhouse, and no one's ever like, oh, you got to get the broccoli. Like, it's a side dish. You're there for the main course, and it's a matter of how long that main course will last you.
But also, like, when people review phones, they don't review the phone before going online with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a device that's meant to do certain things, and it's like, I don't know. Anyway, we had a review too up. This was Vincent Genito. He said, it's nicely built and cleverly designed to be used in a variety of ways, but the bottom line is that the Switch doesn't do any one of the many things it can do without some sort of significant compromise.
Yeah, Jack of all trades, master of none was sort of the theme of our review, and it's going to remain to be seen how much that really plays out when we're all playing it. Something I've noticed as an early adopter of all consoles, even going back to like say something like the Xbox 360, right, which is one of the first consoles that got updates and changed. You look at the UI on that system from when it launched to when it ended. Remember the blades?
Yeah.
Even the Xbox One is consistently getting overhauled. The PS3 to the PS4 and the Vita, the UI changes significantly.
Dude, the PS4 since launch, the whole interface has not changed a lot, but it's been like tons and tons of little tiny tweaks to make it a better experience.
The Wii U at launch was pretty barren, and they added something that most consoles haven't even been able to get right since, which was that sort of like quick load thing, where you could just hit the touchscreen or hit the home button and immediately launch into a game. It took a significant amount of time, but from what I've read about the Switch, and you and I were geeking out about this, it's like 6 seconds from hitting the power button to playing Zelda again.
Yeah.
So
I mean, one of the most charming things about the Switch, and you guys will get a chance to see this once it's out in the wild. One of the first things I did was just plugging it in and taking it out.
Yeah.
And just having it do that thing where it goes from your TV to its handheld. It's one of those, like, I mean, that's its gimmick. It is the Switch, and it works. Also, sliding those little Joy-Cons on and off is a very nice noise. There's a click to it, you know?
That's so nice, that little finger snap.
Anyway, GameSpot said the Nintendo Switch feels like culmination of years of hardware growing pains from both Nintendo and Nvidia. I can definitely see myself bringing the Switch to social gatherings to play something like 1-2 Switch as much as I can see myself playing Zelda sitting alone in front of my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We keep comparing this thing to PS4 and Xbox One, and that's a natural thing to do.
Don't do it.
The NPD will do it. You know, when the sales charts come in, that'll all happen. And that, depending on that support, we'll see how many games it gets.
I think the best thing we can compare this to is the PlayStation Vita and the Wii, because it is kind of a combination of the two. The Vita is not good for AAA games. It's good for weird little indie handheld things. The Wii wasn't great for big AAA things. It was good for like weird, fun party games and like stuff that didn't really make sense on another platform. If this is the go-to for like, I don't know, portable indie games and party games and stuff Nintendo games. Like just getting a bunch of if this is the place we go for that, and then for all like the big, gutsy 4K open world, like massive sprawling stuff we go on other consoles, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I want to exist in a world where I can play Horizon in 4K and then a few days later play Zelda in 720p on a handheld. Like, that's a good place to live.
Anyway, Engadget said, my big takeaway from the Switch, Nintendo has figured out how to innovate once again, but the system's battery life, outdoor screen performance, and unknown networking capabilities have me worried. Yeah, that's a weird thing to have in a review, like unknown networking capabilities on a device that can go online in 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe sit on it for a couple days. And obviously we're at this point where people, they go to review scores and they go to track stuff, but honestly, if you went back to like reviews for, look at the Xbox One. That thing launched and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
That was a $500 thing you could watch cable on that forced you to hook up your Kinect.
I want to point out too that there are a lot of gripes about the battery life, and I think it is a significant gripe, right? I think having 2.5 hours to Zelda on the go is not a ton of time, but I've been playing handheld games since handhelds were first invented.
Yeah.
And a 3-hour battery life is pretty damn awesome for most average uses. I mean, even like on a cross-country flight, which is 5 hours, if you're spending 3 of those hours playing Zelda, that's a good place to be. It will go up to 6 with some games too, so I'm okay with that. The outdoor screen thing, I can see that being an issue though, because like if you want to bring your Switch outside and the sun glare is not entirely working, your phone can kind of work around that in some ways.
Yeah, I gotta kind of like just go find some shade. Like, you shouldn't be sitting in direct sunlight and just sitting there playing a game. Like,
I know, but it happens.
Get a book, man.
I mean, your phone works in direct sunlight, right? When you
Yeah.
bump the contrast all the way up or the brightness all the way up.
Yeah. Anyway, that's also a thing I use to like navigate. It's not like a thing I'm going to play Zelda on. So
no, but I mean, it's a thing you're going to read on. I think it's all depending on the screen. That said, the screen on this thing is fantastic.
Yeah. Wired says it seems like it's 1,000 times better than Wii U's slow, clunky interface. You just can't do anything with it yet because besides start and stop a game of Zelda. I mean, that's a pretty good like concession or whatever to be like, oh yeah, you can only play Zelda, a massive new Zelda that is getting 10s across the board.
Yeah.
I just walked by somebody who was holding a Wii U in the office a second ago, and I did this weird double take where I was like, is that the Switch? That's not the Switch at all. And it was like, that's the Wii U gamepad. When you remember, the Wii U gamepad is about the size of the Switch, well, maybe 2 Switches stacked on top of each other. And then there's a box that goes with it, and then a power brick that goes with that.
Yep.
And then the fact that the Switch is basically just that.
It's just that.
That's a huge leap forward.
It's thinner and lighter than the Wii U gamepad as well.
Yeah.
And it delivers on the promise that the Wii U gamepad couldn't even deliver in my own home, which was you'll be able to go from room to room and play video games.
Yeah.
And I literally couldn't go down the hall from my TV without it cutting out the signal. And I was like, this already defeats the whole purpose of this thing.
I want to solve that water temple in my own water temple, a.k.a. my bathroom.
Yeah, toilet talk.
Yeah, Octo Rocks, dunking out. Anyway, The Guardian said the Nintendo Switch is a brave and fascinating prospect. The Switch is playing in a very different space, a space of its own, and we now need to see it if the rest of the industry and a large enough audience of casual gamers will join it. I was saying this a second ago.
Right?
I think that the fact that it is clearly a new thing. I mean, you look at it, when the Game Boy came out, there was nothing else in existence like that.
No.
When the Wii came out, there was nothing else in existence like that. When the DS came out, that was a kind of an interesting spot. I think it was, people knew like a handheld Nintendo device. They're like, is that a Game Boy? But the PSP came out at the same time, and it was considerably more like of a wow factor. But the fact that this has a color scheme that is new. It's a new color scheme. It doesn't look like, oh, it's the familiar old kind of gray. I mean, there is a gray one, but if you get somebody on an airplane and they're sitting there and they're playing Zelda and they're holding these weird little like candy bar things in their hands, you look over and you go, hey man, what is that? What are you playing on that?
There we are.
We're on that.
All right.
Unfortunately, there's no video streaming capabilities on there yet. Just
there's
Zelda.
no web browser yet. One day you'll be able to watch this show on there.
Yeah, but I like the idea of it. Like,
this is great.
It's a kind of thing you have to see it in person. You've got to see it up close and just really kind of, get your hands on it. Like, there's a certain level of like the HD Rumble stuff. That is one of those things in the same vein as like VR. It doesn't work unless you do it yourself. Same thing with Wii.
So the three major tenets here of a successful Nintendo console or a successful video game console, I think, is that one, the hardcore Nintendo fans who bought Pokemon on 3DS, who bought every Zelda game, they need to come over, right? Now, Pokemon last year it was the biggest launch of any Nintendo game ever. So there is still a fan base there. So all those handheld fans who love 3DS, here's your new toy, you come over. Number two, hardcore gamers who play PS4 and Xbox One but want something on the go, some of them need to come over too. And number three, grandma, auntie, casual gamers, your mom, they need to come over and they need to find something here.
So 1-2 Switch is a dumb as hell game. It should totally have been a pack-in terms of like just what it is. It's basically a tech demo. That said, it is incredibly fun. I had a big party last weekend. I had people over to play it, and everyone had just a huge blast. And what's really interesting about it is it's not really a video game. Everything in there is basically live action or very simplified graphics. It feels more like a high-tech board game, which I think is really smart because that will lure in people like grandma who are scared of the concept of a video game. If you're like, hey, we're playing Milk the Cows, grandma, let's do this together. That's weird, but it's still like, look each other in the eye. It's encouraging humans to interact, whereas I know that, moms everywhere are like, I don't want you playing on that damn thing, go outside. And that's also the thing the Switch tells you to. Take a break, go on.
It's true.
Anyway, there's Wolverine. I switched that image too quick. Switch.
So yeah, Nintendo Switch, it's out. It's out tonight. Is this the last one? Did we do all this? The Switch is the most polished, sturdy, and grown-up hardware Nintendo has ever produced. That doesn't mean this new hardware is technically superior to other game systems. So yeah, same thing. I think in a year or two, when PS4 Pro and Xbox Scorpio are just like swinging for the fences with some of the best-looking games of all time, Nintendo's gonna be like, you can play Mario on the toilet, and if that can still work, this thing will be successful. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's stuff like, oh, you can play Super Meat Boy 2 on there, and you can play it in the park with your friend at the same time using little, controllers. Like, if they manage to basically make a portable NES that plays modern weird indie games or classic Nintendo games. They've got something really cool in their hands. So like, I don't really care that it can't run 4K. It's not trying to.
No,
it's
not
the point.
to.
So
yep.
Yeah, and they'll patch it hopefully to do stuff. Maybe.
I hope they
Who
get
knows?
a virtual console very soon. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm tremendously excited for mine. It's all I can think about this week. This week has felt like the busiest and simultaneous slowest week of my life.
Yeah.
I just want my Switch.
Yep. Christmas is almost here.
It's almost here.
Anyway, this is like a crazy, crazy weekend. We've got not only a Nintendo Switch and a new Zelda, there's also an R-rated Wolverine movie coming out, which is nuts. But in the meantime, we did get something very cool yesterday, which was our first proper look at Alien Covenant. Something weird I always kind of forget is I've been into aliens longer than I've been into Star Wars. They were one of the xenomorph is one of those things that just scared the hell out of me as a kid. I would have nightmares about them, but I was also fascinated by them. Yep. Prometheus, as a movie, initially was kind of marketed as not an alien movie. It's a new Ridley Scott sci-fi picture. It's going to be great. And then it came out and it was sort of an alien prequel that I didn't like, in spite of it looking cool. And now this, which was originally going to be called Prometheus 2, I think, is now Alien Covenant. It's apparently the start of a new Alien trilogy. And I don't know how to feel about it, how to talk straight either, how I feel about it.
I think if this movie existed in a vacuum, I'd be okay with it because it feels like a fresh start.
Yeah.
But it's sort of lingering and latched on a Prometheus in some weird way.
Yeah, but it's also...
I get like kind of sour feelings when I think about that
I think
film.
what this is sort of the Alien version of The Force Awakens, in that they're kind of revisiting the first one, but with plans for sequels, like locked in ahead of time. I mean, it looks pretty much like, oh hey, what if the crew of the Nostromo landed on this planet and instead of just being on the ship, they're on the planet too. I think there's also some stuff we don't know about yet. We got all these spores and things that are going around. I think the alien's going to have some crazy new tricks. It's not quite going to be the same old xenomorph we're used to. I saw this trailer and I was like, man, there's that stupid derelict ship again. I'm very tired of that thing, which is sad because it's a gorgeous design. But then I watched it again, and there's a friggin' face huggers, like regular ones, not those weird-ass lampreys. And then you start seeing, I don't know, like, like Michael Fassbender going around with machine guns and stuff. And then I'm like, hey, Danny McBride's in this. Like, I would listen to that dude, like, just say anything, and it'd be sort of funny and sort of cool at the same time. But then you see the alien towards the end here. Ooh, yeah, they're gonna bang in the shower, huh? Pretty sexy. Uh-oh, that's not sexy one bit. Boing. It's a regular-ass alien. It's a proper friggin' alien. And we got our first actual look at it in the new trailer. And it's like hanging on top of the ship and bashing its head into the windshield while Danny McBride is shouting at it in a cowboy hat. And I'm like, if we're gonna get more alien movies and it's just the alien going around killing people, I mean, it's kind of okay that Ridley Scott's directing them. It's Ridley Scott making an alien movie.
That's a best case scenario if you think about it.
Like, I mean, expectations are pretty high because that series has always been sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
See, I would say the opposite, in that expectations are actually very low for me because the series has been all over the place. And that's why I'm cautiously optimistic about this one, because it feels like we have seen this franchise go wrong in the worst ways. The fact that, like, I grew up reading Alien vs. Predator comics. Yeah. That was my jam. And when they made 2 back-to-back hot turds out of those films...
that series, that's one of those, like, capital, how do you F-word that up?
Right?
And it's like, oh, that's how you do it. You have it take place in an Aztec temple under Antarctica, or in like
a high school in
small town Oregon or whatever.
Awful.
Just get Space Marines in there and have them fight the aliens and the Predators, you idiots. It's not that hard.
Big dummies.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyway, the good news is we are getting another Predator movie that is directed by the dude who wrote Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
And it's got an insane
nice
cast.
guys.
So we're getting an alien movie that leans into the Ridley Scottishness by it being a Ridley Scott movie. And we're getting a Predator movie that leans into like the kind of loud, stupid action movie fare that Predator does. So, I mean, one of those will be great. At least they'll be watchable.
Yeah.
Worst comes to worst, we can cut together our own Alien vs. Predator trailer using footage from those movies. We can upload it to our personal YouTube channels and be like, this is how it should have been. And then we'll continue never making movies, just making fun of them on our show.
I love
where we
that.
have toys on our desk.
Yeah. So when's this movie out?
I don't know, this summer or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm excited for it. I really, really want this to be good.
Yeah.
I want this to be a step in a new direction. I want to get as far away from a Prometheus as possible. And, I don't know. I think children should be scared of Alien again.
Yeah. Get that xenomorph out here.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got next? I'm looking at the teleprompter. It doesn't say.
We're going to talk about...
Oh, what do you know? Speaking of aliens, a lot of people might be familiar with another movie that involves some aliens, also directed by James Cameron. It's called Avatar, and it's the best movie of all time according to people who go to the movies. Earlier this week, we got a great piece of news from the fine folks at Ubisoft, and that they are going to be developing an Avatar video game. Again. They already made one in 2010, and we did not like it here at IGN. I didn't work here then. Anyway, this one's developed by Massive Entertainment, who did Tom Clancy's The Division, and it's going to be in the Snowdrop engine. So we're going to have an incredibly realistic game where the purple cats go around in space, and there's all kinds of animals up there. Maybe there's a helicopter. Who knows? Maybe we'll get James Cameron's Avatar as Michelle Rodriguez will show up in her big flying car.
No one cares. The movie is bad. It hasn't aged well. No one remembers it or likes it. The sequels will be dumb.
Avatar 2 is going to be a great
bad idea.
And this movie will come in, it will help tie the sequels together, possibly by selling a side story.
About Avatar but you.
What about Jake Sully?
It's the worst.
Jake Sully and Neytiri have raised a family. Avatar 2 is set years in the future.
If he was standing in front of me.
You would absolutely recognize him. He would be covered in ping pong balls because they mocap everything. Anyway, James Cameron's Avatar.
He'd be covered in tomatoes because people would be throwing them at him.
Division.
What
back
does that
to you.
mean? No, back to who? It's us the only people on this show.
James Cameron's Avatar.
It's gonna be bad again.
Hey,
Stop showing this.
Did I ever tell you about the time how
I don't want to enter the world. I hate that font.
The papyrus font.
Stop it.
You know what's cool is
what is this crap?
You may know that font from appearing in Avatar, the film, and also in numerous local massage parlors.
It's written on dozens of Wiccan toilets.
Please do not flush paper towels in the toilet. Our septic tank gets backed up. Thank you, your local Indian restaurant.
God. Oh my God. Avatar is one of the. I hate this. The movie is bad. It's inspired many bongs.
Avatar.
That's
about it. I don't think it has. Here's a fun game to play at home. While you're waiting for Ubisoft's upcoming Avatar game,
play everything else
you
on
can
Earth.
play a cool game on Google Images where you type in Avatar movie and then the name of a celebrity. You could type in like Avatar Navi Lil Wayne. You could type in, it helps if there are celebrities who were hot in like 2009 when that movie came out.
This movie made sense when they hadn't brought Star Wars back yet. Now that Star Wars is back, we can get this terrible ass cover band. Stop showing this.
You know why
garbage.
James Cameron started making films, right? He saw Star Wars and he said, hey, I'm going to quit my job as a truck driver and do that. And he did. And he sent a picture of his middle finger to George Lucas on Christmas when Titanic came out.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Everyone wants to see the 5th sequel to Fern Gully.
Hell yeah, they do. Toxis is back. Anyway.
Why'd you throw that on the floor?
It was on my keyboard. You can talk about it later. I'll go pick it up. It's a magazine. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Anyway, I mentioned this weekend before I read the teleprompter properly. This weekend we're getting a brand new Wolverine movie, Logan. It's rated R. Yeah. Logan is back, which is weird because his name was also revealed to be James Howlett, and I think one of those other movies, but everyone calls him Logan for whatever reason. This movie is doing very well critically. People seem to like it. It's apparently like one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah.
However, I have a huge problem with it. First of all, it's Hugh Jackman's last movie as Wolverine. And second of all, Hugh Jackman has never actually worn a Wolverine costume. So let's have a little crash course in all of the costumes that he wore that weren't Wolverine costumes, starting with X-Men from the movie X-Men. Here he wore that costume and they kind of were like, let's sort of have stripes on there, but not really because nobody wants to see superhero movies because it's the year 2000. We just got over that Y2K thing. And hey, head on down and have a Sobe. Like, I don't know. It was a weird time.
What happened with this one?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we remember this fondly, but as comic book fans, we were like, what?
No, dude, that movie was so desperately trying to be like, hey man, we're not superheroes, we're the X-Men. It's kind of different. Anyway, Limp Bizkit is touring right now, and 9/11 hasn't happened. Anyway, X-Men 2: The Last Stand, I think holds up a lot better. Still has the stupid leather costumes. I mean, there was that joke in the first one about like, oh, would you prefer yellow spandex or something? And they're like sort of doing these weird, tactical motorcycle costumes. They got Nightcrawler in there at least.
The answer is yes, we would prefer yellow spandex.
Yeah, which we've proven. I mean, there's lots of been developments in spandex and Lycra and Gore-Tex and all that stuff.
We've proven that? We don't look good in those
No,
things.
we haven't. I mean, scientists, designers of other costumes who actually
who
make real things, not just a show about toys and desks
without
and
like
stuff.
a pouch.
Then, of course, there was X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which they kept just adding slightly different piping. Like in this one, Iceman got like bluish piping, and you're like, dude, Iceman is just like a naked snowman in the comics. Like, maybe that wouldn't work. Also, like, yeah.
Where's everyone looking here?
I don't know, different directions.
Yeah, that's not
Off
good.
to the side.
That's not good.
They got that like bootleg Ryan Gosling playing Angel.
Wolverine looks like he just came out from under a sink and he's like, I fixed that leak.
He looks like he's trying to run away from this franchise. And then, of course, there was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh.
Which is...
my favorite 90s band.
If I could beat up a movie, I would beat up this movie. I would like
happened
follow
here?
this movie through a parking lot and just like kick its ass.
I wish they had spent as much on the script as they did on oil.
Right? It's a bunch of greased up muscle men.
Yeah.
Oh, for the record, that's Deadpool on the side there.
That's a very
Well,
wet
sort of.
film.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
This looks like an Evanescence tour poster.
Yeah, that Native American woman there, not the one on the right, but the one between Wolverine and Deadpool. That's Gambit.
Yeah.
That's he wears a bowler hat and does fun Zippo tricks at parties.
Oh yeah, he was the weird guy from that football show. Now he's throwing
awful.
cards around.
This literally looks like a Nickelback tour poster. Like,
Just the worst.
Anyway, then we got X-Men First Class, which people really liked, and Wolverine even showed up in that to drop one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie, which is that's his mutant power.
The way we're blocking the screen here, it looks like Magneto is holding his cigar.
Yeah, that is really weird. That's a very weird shot.
I like this cameo. I like this cameo.
That was a good cameo.
I think this movie needed it.
That movie was such a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect, but it seemed like they were kind of starting to maybe sort of kind of consider beginning to sort of reboot the X-Men franchise, but then they didn't. Then we got the Wolverine, which was supposed to be like, you know, the sequel to the X-Men Origins Wolverine that also pretended it didn't happen. This was such a they had this. They had this. It's a movie about Wolverine in Japan, and he's fighting ninjas. All you have to do is just adapt like Frank Miller and Chris Claremont's movie about Wolverine going to Japan and fighting ninjas. But instead they open it up with him fighting a bad CG bear, which again, that happens in the comics. But then they have him having flashback dreams about Jean Grey in X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which everyone was trying to forget. And that happened like 5 years earlier. So yeah, that movie, some people like it. They're like, you gotta watch the director's cut. I'm like, you said that about Daredevil. Doesn't mean it's a good movie.
And again, can we take a look at his costume here?
It's not even a costume, it's pants.
It's pants.
Yeah.
Where's the costume?
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Days of Future Past, where they kind of start getting interested. He looks like a Nerf
Deus
gun.
Ex of Future Past?
Yeah, I don't know. Global Guts, the X-Men edition. Look at that Nerf gun Bishop is holding.
Yeah, is that Forrest Whitaker from Rogue One in
Also,
the background?
at this point, like,
Boogly!
the Avengers has come out. Like, we've seen the Avengers. We've seen that you can make superhero movies with superhero costumes, and people go see them. But they still were like, nah, man, tactical pants. Everyone loves tactical pants for the mutants. And then we got X-Men Apocalypse, where he wore like that VR, like Virtual Boy headset and the panties that he has to wear in the Weapon X program. And he runs in the woods or whatever.
He just runs out the door. It's hilarious.
And now we're getting Logan. And James Mangold, the director, has said that this isn't really a superhero movie. Like, I'll totally give him credit for that. And that the reason Wolverine isn't wearing the costume is he's always been like, he's the least boastful superhero. You know, like the whole thing is like, if you've got to say your name across your chest like Superman, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? That's a weird thing to do. However, if you read the comics, the whole reason that Wolverine wears that costume, even though it's completely against his character, is out of respect for Professor X. He's showing a little bit of school spirit. That's the whole point. And why did they show us this costume at the end of the Wolverine if we never got to see him wear it? It's the last time Hugh Jackman's going to be in the thing, and he didn't wear the costume. It looks like a good costume. It's the brown and yellow, too. That's my favorite. I love that one.
That bums me out so hard that they teased this and we never got it and probably
sucks.
never will.
Well, Logan looks awesome. I'm really excited to go see it, but my God, it's just a bummer we never get to see Hugh Jackman dressed up like an actual Wolverine.
Maybe there's like a scene where he wakes up in a motel in yellow pajamas or something. We get a little close. He has a towel.
He goes like shopping for shirts, and he's like, I would never wear this, and it's like a Wolverine shirt.
He walks in front of like a spotlight.
But yeah, like I know somebody in the comments could be like, oh, actually, Wolverine totally wears he wears normal clothes in the comics too. Yes, but he's also for the last like 30-something years worn like
Hit him with it, Max.
Look at this. The whole reason they started doing leather stuff was basically to try to tie it into the X-Men movies, which was happening in the 2000s. They had this weird period where he had like a goatee. He looked like he was in Disturbed. But for the most part, he wears yellow spandex. It's Wolverine, man. Put that costume on Hugh Jackman.
What happened in the 90s with that weird do-rag thing?
He after Magneto ripped out all his adamantium, he had this weird feral phase where he had like bone claws and he would make like do-rags and go out in the woods.
Bone claws, ready?
Do weird stuff, yeah.
Beautiful.
Anyway, yeah, so that's Wolverine. Sorry, I get kind of worked up about X-Men.
No, you've earned it.
I'm excited that Logan is doing well, and I think the fact that it is so far removed from the rest of the X-Men series, and that they're kind of being like, hey, this is a swan song, not a superhero movie. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Also, that it's violent, mature, and bloody as hell. I think that's important to note, and that's going to make it a good time. And speaking of violent, mature, and bloody as hell, we played a game about car crashing, and it was disgusting. Let's roll it. Hey everyone, it's Brian and Max, and it's time for Guts and Glory. We're going on a family vacation, and we're going to make sure our child doesn't explode.
Yeah, we played this game before. It's real silly.
Yes.
It's basically Goat Simulator with human beings. It's in early access on Steam right now.
Do you want to do family vacation?
Yeah, family vacation is where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah, so
The
this is
Yangs
something-
say goodbye to their snobby neighbors, the Joneses, and hit the wide open road. Destination, the Gumsy and Gomar theme park. Ooh, we're going on a theme park adventure. Mom and Dad are here, and
Suck
young
it, Joneses.
Lil Yang is in the back seat. Sounds like a rap name. Okay, that's immediately you cut your neighbors in half.
Yeah, I don't care. They were dicks.
I want to point out we were playing this game at max settings. This is not.
Oh, the child's toy fell out.
Okay, you're doing good so far. Your car looks like Terrence and Phillip, though.
Yeah, it is. Check this out.
You got boosts.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
well.
all of our things. You know what? Where we're going, we don't need those things anymore. I've had it with this old job.
So far, not a lot of obstacles. You totally missed the. Oh, your son.
It's the tutorial.
No, that was your wife.
My son and my wife.
Your wife got real torn up back there.
My wife's son. I think I forgot a checkpoint, so I should better go back and check it out. You know what I mean?
Look at your wife's blood all over the highway. That's horrible. Oh, man.
At least my daughter's still safe.
Was that one of her parts just kicking around in the trunk?
Probably. Hold on.
Okay. Nope.
Gotta burn out there. Yeah, I love that we're in an age where this is a video game.
I love that your son's in the back seat like this is some sort of nightmare Uber.
Because children take Ubers everywhere.
They will in this world.
Yeah, getting some air.
A beautiful open road. Okay.
Oh crap!
Those
Cannons. Yeah.
What kind of vacation is this?
It's a family vacation. You know what? I don't like roads. I like to take shortcuts.
Oh no. Hey,
We're okay. We're all
you
right,
and young Lil Yang are doing real good.
You know, if you actually if you try to do this in real life, your family will die and you'll go to jail.
Yes. What's up? What's that?
No one knows. What are those, treasures?
Oh, the old farmer Bill blew up his tomato stands all over the highway again.
It's a common sight on the old country roads of Western America.
Uh-huh.
Treasures. Oh, wait, hold on. You know what? I think we might need to try that again.
Are you okay? Oh, your wife's alive.
This man endangered my family.
Can you drive over him very slow? Oh, God.
Hell yeah, I can drive over very slowly. I don't know. We got a schedule to keep. We got an itinerary.
Yeah, we got a vacation to go on.
I want this to get the National Lampoon license. I feel like this is just dying for that.
It basically does. Anything has the National Lampoon license. You went to Blockbuster in the mid-2000s.
That's true. The Paris Hilton sex tape, now with a National Lampoon license.
She made a lot of films for them.
Yeah, she did. Ugh.
What was that? Did your wife lose her blue hat?
This is my daughter, the
Pride Rock.
Necroform.
Getting real jerked around back there. Oh, God. Okay, she's very dead.
She's taking an old nap.
Your son is dead. Both
Keep
of you.
saying son. I'm pretty sure it's my daughter.
Okay, what if you want to call it it's dead?
This floppy child in the back of my car.
Okay. You're making it through the checkpoint. Where is this theme park? I think it's coming up. Oh,
There's
there's a
actually-
town. Look at this. You can roll into town with 2 dead people in your car like a sick-ass dude.
Hell yeah.
Go head first into the house. Go into the house. Ooh, let's go. Oh, my. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. There's bones and stuff.
Oh, look at her legs.
Oh, crap. A tree.
How are you still alive?
Oh, my Lord. Am I still alive? No, I'm not alive.
Oh, my God.
This game is great.
Holy crap. All right.
I think these people are
God, do you see her
involved.
leg stub? Just...
This game is for sick people.
Oh, the old road rocks.
Yeah, the Road Titanic, as it's known. Yeah.
It's a very weird town back there, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people go through there. They don't really have much of a tourist trade.
Mm-hmm.
They just have 4 houses and nothing else.
You're doing real good around these trees, I gotta say. You're doing a good job over here. Oop, not so much. What, are you going golfing?
Trying to write some cursive on the lawn.
This really looks like somebody made like a golf PS1 game, and then someone else was like,
You know what? That's exactly what this reminds me of. I used to play Microsoft Windows Golf 95 at my friend's house because he didn't have any of the better games at the time.
you didn't have any better friends?
Yeah, pretty much. We used to make our avatars look like kids we didn't like at school, and then make them just really suck. Oh, that was my wife back there.
What?
Make them really suck at golf.
Was that your dead wife on the floor?
Yeah, let's go run her over with the car.
What in the is wrong with you? Oh, good. It's totally a daughter.
I'm trying to visit my wife.
Stop doing that.
Stop shooting me with arrows.
All right, Max, you have a few seconds left. Bring us home here.
All right, we're almost there.
I want you to end with a real good crash. Oh, see that huge rock up there? Pride Rock?
You want me to skip around the end of the thing and just go there?
Yes, I want you to go head first into that huge rock.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
We need rocks.
Let's just keep going. Yep.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the grand finale. Our wife is dead and our daughter's about to explode. And... Oh! Oh!
This game is great!
Oh my God! Look at your blood! Where is your daughter? Is she just part of you?
There she is.
She's part of you. Okay.
That's why kids should always ride in the back seat, not in the front seat.
And remember, kids, don't drive.
Don't even go near a car.
Don't ever drive.
If you see a car, call the police.
Not even don't drink and drive. Just don't ever even drive. Stay home always. It's much safer, except for the microwave. It's full of ghosts.
Good God. What a great game. Is my chair haunted?
What the
Oh, the blood's evaporating. That's good.
Is this like when they rewind a crime scene?
They probably put Coca-Cola all over the grass to clean up the blood.
That's actually an old cop's myth.
Hey, welcome back, friends. We hope you enjoyed the car accident game. I love that game. I'm like super into that.
We kind of want to just like play it for a few minutes every week forever.
I think we might just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, it gets weirder and weirder. You could be bicycle dude. You could be like ATV man. And I think they're still like patching stuff into it because it's a Steam game that I don't even know if that's a game.
I hope they don't make it better.
I hope they make it worse. I think they should add like arbitrary explosions for no reason.
Max, we got a brand new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 this week.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
I haven't watched it yet.
Me neither. Are you going in blind, or are you trying to?
I think we're close enough that I just don't want to see anymore.
I'm with you.
I mean, it's got Kurt Russell and rumors of Sylvester Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be great. I heard something that's like testing like almost like a perfect score with test audiences. I love the first one. I mean, the less jokes that are spoiled, the better. Like that's where that movie is like, I think fantastic. And I don't know. I think Disney's really good about keeping movies under wraps and not showing you too much. But that said, like, the least I know, the better. It's got a raccoon in it. That said, Marvel Legends is a series of action figures that's been in the works for 15 years. If you like Marvel superheroes and you don't own one of these, then you don't actually like Marvel superheroes because they're the best. One of the most recent waves is all Guardians of the Galaxy, both comics and movie. Let's start with Star-Lord here. We got this wonderful. He's got that gas mask, which I thought was really badass.
These are really good looking. He came with different head sculpts, right?
Yeah, he comes with a separate Chris Pratt head, which is really gorgeous. He did a really good job with that.
Well, he's a handsome man.
Yeah, pretty boy. So if you want to do custom, Jurassic World figures, you can do that. And then of course, Yondu, Michael Rooker here. He's got his little whistle arrow. I'll move that out of the way. Get out of there. He's also got a separate head that doesn't have the weird fin up on it.
His whistle arrow, his his weird laser lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his angry face.
Yeah, he's get that out of here. It's a weird show. Yeah, so these are great. You can find these out wherever. They're about 20 bucks.
What do these
each.
run for?
They're about 20 bucks, 15 bucks. If you find them on sale, you can like totally luck out. Sometimes there's figures that people totally don't want.
These pop up at Walgreens a lot too, like weird little like CVS's and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They'll do exclusives occasionally.
Yep.
Then of course there's Drax. They did a gorgeous job with this guy. I'm always kind of weird about movie-based ones. I'm so used to like movie toy lines being like kind of their own thing. And Marvel Legends is always like, hey, someone finally made a really good toy line based on comics, so here it is. That said, they do a little bit of both. Here is Angela, who if you're an old dork like us, you know her from Spawn. She was a Neil Gaiman creation, and the whole thing with Image Comics when they started up was, the creators get to have the rights to their characters they create.
Yeah.
And in a move that kind of surprised everybody, Neil Gaiman was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take her out of Image Comics and put her in Marvel, and now she's in Guardians of the Galaxy." So he took a Spawn character and put her in the Marvel universe.
It's so weird. I had her Spawn toy.
Yeah. Which version did you have?
Probably the original one. It was
like the regular one or the dirty one?
the dirty one.
You had the dirty one.
And it's one of those things where my mom was like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "I bought it at a comic book store," and she was like, "This is pornography."
So there was a long running thing where they had two versions of her. One where the underwear was painted on and one where it wasn't. And it's kind of like, which is worse in this situation? So there was a weird kind of variant hunt back in the day. Then of course
I had
we got
the one without, if you know what I'm talking about.
You got Vance Astro here. I don't know anything about this dude. Apparently he's been around in like the original Guardians comics since like back in the 60s and stuff.
Yep.
Somehow Guardians of the Galaxy has always been a series I just don't know a damn thing about. So maybe that's why I like the movie so much.
You were saying that this figure feels like a kid designed an action figure or a superhero.
I mean, to be fair, it makes sense that he's a character from the 60s.
Yeah.
Because they had kind of like simpler designs back then. Here's a character who is very much like a kid designed an action figure in the 90s. Good old Darkhawk. I remember my friend had like one of the first I think chromium cards I had was this dude, and I traded some of my trading cards for this guy.
Yep. He's a really cool design. Like it feels like a video game bad guy, but I dig him. The articulation's awesome, and that's a stand from Figma.
Yeah, we borrowed that from something else. Sometimes Marvel Legends have like little holes in the back of them, so you can like pose them flying and stuff.
Yeah, and you bought a whole box of these like little circular discs.
Yeah, you can get like a bunch of these on Amazon for super cheap. I think we bought like 100 of them by accident.
They work great with the Star Wars Black Series figures I collect too.
Yeah, here's Nova, Kid Nova, whatever.
Cool toy.
He comes with this thing. Honestly, I need to catch up on comics or whatever, but he comes with this, which is like also a Nova, I guess. It's like a little blob. I don't know what I'm talking about, so
he's great.
Please make fun of me in the comments. And these guys all assemble to make what is it, Titus?
Yeah.
So each one of these guys comes with a different piece, and you can put them together. I currently have 5/6 of a Juggernaut figure under my desk, and I need to get the rest of the X-Men line that they put out so I can have a whole Juggernaut, but right now I got this weird amputee version.
Yeah, it's very off-putting. Like you open up a toy and there's like a leg in the box.
Yeah, so this all pops apart and stuff.
all the body parts.
Yeah, I don't know much about this dude either. He's a fairly recent addition to the Marvel Universe, but he's a cat with a Gatling gun, I guess, and one eye, and there you go. Anyway, Marvel Legends are fun toys. Yeah, buy a toy. Get out there. Support your local toy corporation that makes action figures in other countries.
Yeah, those fledgling independent businesses.
This young startup called Hasbro.
Yeah.
They've partnered with an up-and-coming indie company named the Disney Corporation.
Marvel is, really just down and out, just getting their name out, and it's been real tough. So, you can find some of their work on IFC, which is a great channel for small, fledgling independent films, such as the Spider-Man.
Do we have any comments from our fine viewers? I feel like we're kind of slow into a roll here. I'm also amazed that Stormtrooper hasn't fallen over this episode. He's just bobbing back and forth.
Triple Offs says Altanoville, I guess that's you and me combined, are spending their time doing a show about toys and deaths while they could be playing Breath of the Wild. Here's the thing, you're right. There's Nintendo Switches out there with Breath of the Wild on them. I'm hosting a new Let's Play series with Zach Ryan called Link Together, where we each hold one half of the Joy-Cons and play in synchronicity. It's very, very difficult. But I'm not trying to get into all of that game before it comes out. Like that is a very personal experience for me. Yeah. I don't want to play Zelda at a demo show or a kiosk or a trade show. I have before. I want to just get cozy, nestle in on the couch, put my Switch in front of me.
Yeah, sink your teeth in. That's a weird thing. Like when we working here, save files become kind of a terrifying thing. Yeah. I guess it's not as much of an issue with like PS4 games because you have cloud saves and everything, and that makes things very easy. Do we know if Switch games save on the cartridge or on the device?
That's a really good question. So on the device. So they save on the device, but they don't. So the cartridges themselves don't actually back up data onto the device. So basically you don't have to install Breath of the Wild.
Sure.
So that's pretty cool because you're working with
but that does also suck because we don't really know how to transfer save files. So if we were in fact playing Zelda on one of the company pieces of hardware, we'd have to basically start over.
So I don't know how it's going to work with, you said your fiance is going to play Breath of the Wild and you guys are going to share a Switch unit.
I think you get a more than one profile though,
okay, good.
Which is good. Yeah. But she was saying this morning we should probably buy a second Switch. And
Probably
that's
should.
We're not good at being adults.
Johnny Bosworth
Clearly.
asks if you guys could cause a bad superhero movie to be remade, which one would it be? Many, many, many bad superhero movies. Recently, you and I watched Catwoman, which I think is a really cool character, an absolutely abysmal litter box of garbage of a film. That is one of the worst movies ever. Not even one of the worst comic book movies. Just a bad 90 minutes of things to do with your eyes and ears. Yeah, that's my review
That's a
of
good
Catwoman.
question. I don't know. There's a lot that like we had a terrible Daredevil movie, and then they made a pretty good Netflix show. I still would love like a really solid Daredevil movie, but it's never going to happen because that's now like a TV show thing.
Spawn absolutely is something that I think.
Spawn's probably my go-to. I think.
And that gets kicked around every few years.
Yeah. I want more Judge Dredd. I think Dredd 3D was fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to see more stuff that's not just like shooting gallery. Like I want to see more like here's what it's like in what do you call it? Mega City 1, you know?
Dan O'Brien asks that Wolverine Origins video game though. I think we should do a feature.
We really should play that.
No, we should do something next week. I'd love to play that with you, but I think we should do something about the best video games based on the worst movies.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine Origins is a bad film. You've all seen it. It's terrible. It's got maybe
we got basically God of War with Wolverine.
yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah. And then there was what's another one? Everyone always brings up what is it? Riddick, Butcher Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Chronicles of Riddick movies are like kind of all over the place. I respect Vin Diesel for making them, but like they're not like that's not like a franchise that has its like really like hooked an entire audience. But that game, everyone's like, that's a really good game. That's weird.
Greg Bellin says, do you think the Switch will eventually take over the 3DS market?
I don't think so.
So they're being
cagey. No,
cagey.
of course not. What am I saying? It's $300
I mean, I don't think that's a big problem.
for kids. I mean, the big thing, like you can get a 3DS or 2DS or whatever for like $70.
Well, you can now, but
Right.
the 3DS launched at $279.99, which is
and it did not do well at all.
no, it didn't. But it's hovering around. It's hovering around Switch prices at that price point. I think that Nintendo's being cagey about that. They have sort of hinted that they're making another handheld that's in development. I think that if they were to put out a new handheld in the next year, it'd be suicide and it would cannibalize all the Switch sales. So what they should start doing
Cannibal suicide.
Cannibal suicide. Yeah, that was a hardcore ass sentence for talking about children's toys. If this fall they can put together some sort of bundle where it's $2.99 and you also get Zelda or Mario Kart or Mario Odyssey, that'll make things a little more appealing. I think that it's in their best interest to bring over all the people who love the 3DS and get them to buy a Switch. Because that's millions and millions of people who probably want a new handheld.
Yeah.
Holistic Defective says, how do the Joy-Con buttons and analog sticks feel to press and move? Close to the 3DS, Wii U, or something else? I would say that the face buttons feel very 3DS-y.
Yeah, because they're tiny. They're
Yeah.
tiny. You are not aware of how small the Joy-Cons are.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very small when you're holding them sideways. When you have them in sort of handheld mode, it feels really comfortable and it's really nice. And the triggers feel good, and the joysticks feel really good.
It's a wonderful little piece of hardware. I think Nintendo frequently the first version of their hardware is sort of a letdown in a lot of ways, and then a few years later they'll make like a slimmer version or like a smaller version or whatever. But look at the first Game Boy compared to like the Game Boy Color. I mean, again, that's kind of a leap forward. Same with the 3DS. Like the first 3DS, I was looking at, or the first DS, I was looking at. We had DSs on the show last week. Those weird rare collectible ones. That is an ugly piece of hardware.
Yeah, the original one, some people call it like the layer cake. The original 3DS was the same thing. It was very boxy and rigid.
And then the new ones are they're great.
Oh, they're awesome.
Wonderful like clamshell.
I'm actually worried about my 3DS because I'm like, where does that thing go now that I've got the Switch?
College.
But yeah, I'm many years past that being a thing.
No, it could go to college. You could send it away.
Oh, like to some kid in college?
Yeah, you could do that. I was just making a stupid comment, but we're going down that rabbit hole, huh?
I don't want to give anything to a college
What if you just made up an address and mailed it there and saw what happened?
No, never. We've only got 1 minute left in the show, so I wanted to shout out a magazine real quick. Lucas M. Thomas, who has been writing for IGN for years and years, one of our most prolific freelancers for a very long time, has been making this awesome magazine called Nintendo Force. I want to show it to you guys real quick. I grew up with the Nintendo Power coming in my mailbox every single month. It's one of my favorite feelings in the world as a kid, was getting new issues of Nintendo Power. Nintendo Force is a magazine that is absolutely reliving that for me. I want to flip through. The layout is even very like Nintendo Power. So it's just gorgeous. It comes with a big fold-out poster. They've got reviews and letters to the editor and stuff like that. They show off different toys and just cool, awesome stuff.
Where do you get these?
So you can subscribe, just Google Nintendo Force, you can find it. These guys, they send me a copy every month, which I'm very happy about. I miss Nintendo Power. If you do too, and you want something sort of tangible to remind you of how cool Nintendo can be and how cool magazines can be, check this out. It's called Nintendo Force. Shout out to Lucas and the rest of the staff working on this awesome magazine, because it's really cool. And that about wraps it up for us. Coming up next, we're going to be playing Prey with the developers behind Prey, live streaming that brand new game. So it's going to be really cool.
So with GDC in town, it's actually always a little bit confusing. Which Prey?
Yeah, which Prey?
Playing the original one with some 3D Realms folks? I don't think so. I think it's guys from Arcane. So
I guess we'll
stick
find
around
out
for that.
Yeah, stick around. Thank you guys so much for watching. By this time next week, you'll all be playing Nintendo Switch. Or they'll be out in the wild at least. So let us know what you think of them. I'm Brian. That's Max. This was Up at Noon. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.